All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Elizabeth Cohen. I hope you can see this. Your mom's a little overprotective, isn't she? None of us are like this, right? I'm so happy to be here, and I'm so honored to be with such a wonderful, smart panel. So thanks for having me, and great job, Max. Your mom must be so proud. Okay. So I'd like to start by asking everyone to take a moment to connect to your bodies. Notice your feet on the ground. Are they crossed? Are they straight? Notice your back on the chair. Does it feel supportive? Uncomfortable? Notice any sensations you might be having as you settle in to this portion of the evening. It's been a long day. Now I want you to imagine you're busy doing something in your life, and you get one of the following dreaded texts. Oops, I already had that up there. My friends just told me they're all going to a party this weekend, and I was not invited. I'm freaking out. I was right, they hate me. I just got a C on my project that I worked so hard on. I hate that teacher. He's out to get me. I want to change schools. No one here likes me. I have no friends. For students who are here, think about the same situation, but imagine your friend texts you these statements. Parents, imagine it's your kid. Take a minute, imagine getting those texts. Now, I would like you all again to check in with your bodies and notice your physical sensations now. And feel free to call some out. Anyone notice any physical sensations? Tight chest, thank you. Tension. Anyone else? Here are some possibilities. You might notice your heart beating fast. It might be constricted. You might feel a little nauseous. You might notice your shoulders get tight. I don't know if any parents, when you get a text, the minute you pick up the phone, the shoulders go up. Your throat might be tight. It might be a little bit closed. Your jaw might be clenched. And you might notice your breathing changes. These are all signs that your nervous system has been impacted by a fear response. These are really important to notice because they let us know that our ability to problem solve and think rationally has decreased. Our amygdalas, or the emotional part of the brain, is then having trouble communicating with our upper levels of the brain that involve rational thought. The more of a stress response we are having, the less of an ability we have to connect and act rationally. So, in addition to some of the physical sensations you might be having, you might also have some thoughts. I knew that group was bad news. That teacher is so unfair. Why can't my kid ever catch a break? These thoughts also impact our ability to think rationally. Now we're going to play a little game. I want everyone here to find someone who is sitting near you that you don't know that well. This is a very important part of the exercise, so if someone in front of you or behind you, it must be someone you don't feel a strong emotional charge with. And students and parents, please do this together. Now, what's going to happen is one of you is going to turn to the other and say one of these texts to each other, okay? And then I want you to say it to one person. And if you want to do a different one, if you have something else you want to do, you can do that. But these are some good prompts. Make sure it's short, whatever you're going to say. Okay, and so these are the statements. And then what I'd like you to do is listen to somebody say that and respond neutrally. Respond as you would because you don't have the emotional connection to this person. So let's try it. Everybody find someone and say one of these statements. So one person is saying the statement, and the other person is responding with a supportive response. Let's try it. Can you move it up? No. Okay. All right, let's try that. Okay, great. All right, now once that's done, switch so the person who just said the worry is now providing the response. So the other person say one of the worries and you provide the response. Okay. I love all this participation. Okay. We've got a lot to talk about, a lot of worries. All right, let's come back together. And you can raise your hand. Did any of you notice, just raise your hand, did any of you notice that the response you have when talking to someone you have a more neutral relationship with is way more supportive and neutral? Anyone notice that? Okay, yep. So how did it feel? Here are some of the, oops, the slides are not there. Here are some of the responses when I've done this talk before that have come up. Gosh, I remember that happening to me with the party. God, high school can be so tough. Things seem to have a way of working out sometimes, don't they? So this is an exercise you can do on your own. When you find yourself worrying, you can ask yourself, oops, not her. What would I say if my neighbor said the exact same thing to me about their kid or friend? So when you get that text, you say, what would I do if we were walking to our in the driveway and my neighbor said the same thing? How would I respond? When we depersonalize the situation, we have a greater chance of bringing a rational perspective and actually acting supportive. So, I already anticipate what a lot of you are saying, but this is my kid. This isn't my neighbor's kid, this is my kid. So we've all heard the phrase, you're only as happy as your least happy kid. Tonight, I'd like to challenge this saying that so many people carry. We do not need to join kids and people in their misery, but rather connect to them deeply and help them through the struggle they're experiencing. Okay, by a show of hands, kids, how many of you like when your parents are also freaking out, scared, anxious, and worried when you are? Just curious. I can't see, but are you all raising your hands? Yeah. Okay, Mom, I just got off the plane. I'll call you when I check into the hotel, and when I check out of the hotel, and when I get on the plane home, and when I get off the plane, and I'll call you when I'm in the driveway. Glad you're not worrying about me. No kids like when their parents are worrying. Okay, how many of you kids would appreciate if your parents were calm and chill when you got upset? Raise your hands. I see some hands. Okay. So, parents, this is for you. It says, I'm staying together for the sake of my parents. Kids do not want to be holding it together. They have enough on their plates as it is. They do not need to be holding it together for you. So my goal is to break the idea that misery and worry is a way to connect and support your kiddos. I love this quote from African-American feminist writer, theorist, and social critic Bell Hooks. The choice to love is a choice to connect. Love and support are the answers. Of course, as a cognitive behavioral therapist, I'm not just saying love is the answer to all our problems. I'm going to operationalize for you or break down what that love and support looks like. As parents, all we really want is for a connection to our kids and for our kids to feel good about themselves. As a parent of a child who just went off to college, I promise that once they leave the house, the most precious moment is when they call home to connect and to recharge. We don't want this. Happy Mother's Day, Mom, and ditto for Thanksgiving and Christmas. The party, the grades, and the worry will pass, but what will last are the ways they handle hard situations. When things get hard, which they absolutely will, we want them to do the two behaviors research shows helps them the most. reaching out for help, and believing in their own capacity to move through struggles. How do we achieve these goals? Not taking on our kids' worries and instead being a supportive and encouraging presence. This allows them to problem solve and shows them that we believe in them. And over time, we know they will internalize these messages. Okay, so by now you might be convinced that not over-worrying about them is the best way to support them, but what do we do when we feel overwhelmed by their worries? Here are 3 tips. The first, which Alec beautifully talked about as well, is about regulating your nervous system. As we did in the beginning of this talk, always check in with your body responses and your thoughts. Some tools you can try. Breathe. Simple, but really effective. Take a pause before responding or acting of 60 seconds. Feel your feet on the floor, your back in the chair. Remember, you are a body and a person, not just a parent. Create a network of support with other parents, friends, and loved ones who, guess what? You can text them, I cannot believe this kid is doing this again. All I want to say to them is, you are not finishing all your work. Tell your friends all the things you want to say to them. Have a group of people that will be there, support you, and say, I get it. I'm so glad you're telling me and not your kiddo. The third is to remind yourself that things pass. There's so many things for us that we went through that we don't even remember. And so reminding yourself that this feeling of discomfort will pass. The second is a tool called the opposite thought. So I want to encourage people to write out the worst thought you have. My kid will never get into a college. And write the opposite thought. My kid will land in the exact right spot for them. Now, well, of course, we can't predict the future, so we do not know what will happen. What we care about is your mindset when you're approaching your child. We want you to go into the conversation with the mindset that this is not an emergency and that you believe that they can handle it. This will help them feel more supported by you and have more self-confidence. So again, it's not about knowing for sure that what that opposite thought is going to happen. It's the shift of your mindset. That's why we do the opposite thought. This is a really important one that I use with my kids and with myself all the time. What if this hard, painful experience was actually an opportunity to learn? We've all heard diamonds are created under pressure. We learn with hard experiences. None of us remember very often the easier things that we slid into. We remember when we made the mistakes and what we learned from them. And the good news is, I don't know about any of you, but I love Gmail auto responses. I love knowing what to say before somebody says something to me. I have a lot of things on my notes app that I copy and paste in text. And so here's some responses that I'm going to suggest that you can just have ready. If your kid calls you and is struggling, I don't have all the answers, but I'm not going anywhere. Would you like my support through listening or advice? I know how hard this is. Just know I'm with you every step of the way. You don't have to have everything figured out. You don't have to be perfect. I know life is a roller coaster. If you need someone to talk to, just know I'm on your team. You've got what it takes to get through this. I believe in you. The message we want to send is not, you need to get to the best college, you need to be perfect. It's, I'm here to be secure in your insecure world. I'm here to be consistent in your inconsistent world. I'm here for you. If you see your kids as capable and resilient, they will see themselves the same way and come back time and time again to you for support and connection. We aren't meant to be miserable with our kids, but rather a charging station to help them reconnect to their abilities and their self-concept. You can do this, and so can they. Thank you so much for listening.